Hello and welcome. Of course, we're still talking about 2023 governorship elections, and to join me on this conversation is Mr. Gbenro Olajuigbe. He's Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. It's good to have you join me this afternoon, Mr. Gbenro.
It's a pleasure being with you.
All
Thank you.
right. What just coming from the governorship and state assembly elections that happened yesterday, and of course, we've noticed a couple of things that happened. But I would like to get your own opinion. How would you, look at the governorship and state assembly across board? What did you see as the things that went wrong in this election process?
Well, it's a day that came and left. Expectedly violent in most part of the country. As I'm talking to you now, Asari to River State, the election was totally shifted because, according to the commissioner of police here, blood talks, political talks of politicians. Lagos did not fare better in terms of violence that characterized the election, and many other places like that. And you will remember that you have 28 states that were supposed to be conducting gubernatorial election, while all the states are for state houses of assembly. So the election has come and the results have been declared, have been collated. Those going to houses of assembly, their results have been known, released, and the winners have emerged. But for gubernatorial candidates, we are yet to, INEC is yet to declare any victor. But nevertheless, one can say that there's can see improvement in the process better than what we had during the presidential candidate. That is supposed to be a plus for INEC in terms of using Beaver and of course uploading results into IREL. So they at least move an inch above what they did during the presidential election. But that is not to say that that is a pass mark, because when you are looking at the election, you are looking at the totality of the environment that can deliver fear-free, credible, and violence-free election. But in this way, we can say that largely the election has not been violence-free. And one issue that we must not ignore is the issue of the fact that, of course, we have if we look at if we had monitored the processes that led to this or accumulated into this election, we will have noticed that the election further factionalized us, fractionalized us, and of course, it became a sort of fratricide, brother fighting brothers, using identity that have driven our election historically. I'm talking in this way, ethnic identity. Very vicious drive of it could be noticed. And of course, it was all our faces. People calling some people they can't vote vote in this environment because they are from some other environment and so on and so forth. In the year 2023, that is not healthy enough for national development. So that is the ugly side of the election and the electoral process.
All right, like you already mentioned, there are obviously cases of violence in places like Lagos, Cross River, Sokoto, just to mention a few. But the question is, like, can we really continue like this, especially here in Nigeria, where, in this year, a lot of people were hoping that the presidential election would turn things around, and when it didn't happen like that for these people, they went as far as even hoping that the governorship and state assembly election, would bring a change. But with what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem to be like that, as the results and cases of violence that we've had across board.
Yeah, what I can say about that is that we just need to retrain the mode of government, the system of government that we actually need as a people that is relevant to us. Because I'm not sure that we are far from practicing democracy. As a matter of fact, maybe I can call this criminocracy. Criminocracy in the sense that a lot of criminals have gotten into the system of the country to the extent that you have a situation where you have politicians who don't want election. And of course, they do everything to sabotage election, including vote buy, including mobilizing for violence, including personal assault, killing, maiming of opponents, destruction of election operation, killing the operators, including coppers and everyone and that cannot qualify to be democracy. It's not even a quasi-democracy. So we are not running democracy. We have a system that has been penetrated by a lot of criminals, and that is why we have the type of governance that is pervasive in our country. You have people that don't want to come into election. They are afraid of losing. They see going into government as a sort of gold mining. So they are not there for serve. You begin to wonder if people actually want to serve. You don't need to kill to serve. You don't need to maim to serve. During the presidential election and of course National Assembly election, a whole honorable member, minority leader in Kano State, in the House of Representatives from Kano State was arrested and is facing the consequences of homicidal action, murder and attempted murder, or all those. So if those we refer to as leaders are doing this, then how do you want the country to look like? I'm not sure that this is the pattern of democracy that was envisaged by Jefferson when he says government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So it is not government of the people when people are prevented from voting, when they are being suppressed, they are being harassed, they are being assaulted, they are being killed. So it's not government of the people, by the people, and it can't be for the people. It's for those who are contesting, who are killing people in the process of emerging as elected officials. So if we don't have democracy, as far as I'm concerned, and of course it will be too unwise for us to christen it as a transition. Because you wonder, after 24 years, if we are still saying we are transiting from a system of government to another, then you wonder when are we going to finish with this outright madness that is pervasive in environment that is called democratic environment. But nevertheless, I will blame Nigerians because one, we don't take the issue of governance serious. We only wake up one day. Well, look, after election now, everybody will go to sleep, the sleep mode, snoring, not holding government accountable, whether they are transparent or not. And then if if you don't do that at the level of governance, how do you expect to wake up on the election day and see a city of angels conducting election? It's impossible. It's garbage in, garbage out. And I think but then that the sheer part of this the not too sharing part of this last Saturday election is that motivation has been killed. People are not sufficiently motivated by the result of or by the process that characterized the previous presidential election. So the low turnout is still an issue. People did not come out well yesterday, maybe because of the machination of government workers who are virtually everywhere to intimidate, to harass, and to kill or loot the ballot boxes. And of course, the issue of vote buying was still there. It was reported. You even see allegedly a commissioner in Bauchi State actually distributing money for voters in order to compromise them and influence the way they vote. So that is still there, and it's very, very disturbing. Very, very disturbing in the sense that if we're a country that have operationalized this system in the last 24 years, we are moving backward rather than advancing our democratic culture and practices.
We saw videos of thugs threatening people and telling people that if they do not vote for a particular party, they should just stay at home. What are the implications of this kind of statements, especially in this year, if we decide that we want to overlook these statements? What are these implications for elections in 2027?
Well, even before we get to that 2027, we have to apportion blame. For example, in Lagos, MC Oluomo said the same thing, and police will not get him arrested and probe further. Rather, police came up with a laughable, I don't know whether to call it defense, that it was a joke. What manner of joke could that be? It should be a very stupid, dangerous, and inciting joke, which should not have been tolerated in the first place. Anywhere near democracy, particularly in Nigeria and everything. So the police, we have to blame the security officers, and we have to equally emphasize that over 60 billion Nigeria allocated to police alone for security was nothing but a waste, because they could not keep or maintain the security. Even the man that was distributing money in Bauchi, the so-called commissioner, is being guided by police. Police, even a police officer helping him to arrange those who wanted to sell their votes. So the compromise was out of this world. It was a highly uncivilized form of security, securitization of election. It didn't meet the standards prescribed for security operation during election. So it's going to continue. If we have to look at 2027, you have to look at it from the angle of the consequences that is being dispensed now. If people commit crime without consequence, then it will go on. It's going to even be taken to a higher level next time. So we can't even be talking of 2027, what will happen if people continue like this. If there is no consequence, they are going to continue, even in a more ferocious manner than what they are doing now.
All right, for the aggrieved political parties or people who feel like they didn't have people who were rooting for them to come out, to vote because of voter suppression. I mean, they're already telling them to go to court. Is this now the style in Nigeria?
Well, that is a joke our judicial system has become, because justice administration system in Nigeria need to be rejigged. And we can't have it in a country. If you have ever, even if you are a passenger in common foreign flight airway, and you tell them that you are going to take them to court, they will do everything to appease so that you don't go, because they are afraid of going to court. They know the consequences. But when the court become a system of injustices, accommodating injustices, preventing people from getting injustices, then people are comfortable. When they shoot you, when they slap you, when they kill you, they ask those who care to go to court, because they know already that our court, they see our court as toothless bulldog who will do nothing, who will not serve justice, who will not give you justice, who will not administer law as it ought to be administered. So that means that there is a dysfunctional. Our judicial system is dysfunctional on itself, and that is why we are all saying that at all time that this country must be restructured, because we can't continue like this. You go to court for 100 years, you are still in court, non-ending cases and everything. A judge in Taraba, Chief Justice of Chief Judge of Taraba, has just been removed and retired because it did not attend to a case for 3 years. His compulsory retirement was announced this last week. Because of that, I think NJC should do more than that and take the whole of our judicial administration system and reform that. And of course, maybe the incoming government should take that more serious. We can't have a situation when you see people asking you to go to court. They know that you are going there to get injustices. It's an anathema. What type of I've never is it oxymoron? I would call that. It's very very oxymoronic. When people commit cheat you, libel you, slander you, wound you, cause affliction, in extreme cases murder, and they will ask the person, they agree to go to court, and they say it just as if, well, what are you going to get from there? So it has become a cliche, and of course, it's an indictment on our judicial process. It should be taken serious. I have advised, I think last week, that NJC, MDA, that is Nigeria National Judicial Council, and MBA should take this issue of reforming of our justice administration system very serious.
Also, one of the things that we did notice yesterday was, which was quite shocking, is the fact that we saw sacrifices at different junctions, you know, in some polling units. And the question is, what does this say about our elections? It's beginning to look very scary.
It was an opprobrium. It was a cultural decimation of a people. It was an insult on the culture of the Yorubas and the culture of those who believe in such a performance, that because of election, you have to bring out your so-called God or shrine to the public view in order to intimidate other people, preventing them from voting. It's unheard of. And of course, it must be situated too, that the God that those people worship, why they bring it to the, must be somewhere around Babylon or somewhere else in Lagos. It is not even the God of thunder that our pro-religious used to worship in those days. So it was appalling that even the so-called God in quote could be used to threaten others for the purpose of voting, and you are not even doing it for any cultural reason, just to prevent people from voting because you feel you have a thing called somewhere. That is abhorrent to democracy. It shouldn't be tolerated. Any form of intimidation should be resisted. When it comes to election, when it comes to democratic practices and democratic culture, building democratic culture, it's not sustainable. We can't continue like this. If you want to be elected or re-elected, do what is good, what is right, perform when you are elected, and of course, we will be glad when those who are elected start to be afraid of people without calling one small God to come and aid them to win election. So it was an extension of a strategy for intimidation during election. All those sudden shrine that you are seeing on street of Lagos and being brought out by people who think that they are worshiping a God somewhere, that and then pretending to be worship their ancestors. I'm not sure that any ancestor will agree to what happened, the type of violence, the type of subjugation of opinions, of interest, of position of others. Because every God, even the so-called culture, God of our culture, they are all injustice. So why now bringing them in to aid somebody to perpetrate violence and aid injustice, including compromising electoral process against electoral law itself? So it's absurd. It's not common sense that people will descend to that level in order to win election. I think the governor, whoever is elected, should take lesson from this. What you have to do is to be your own man, perform, even respective, perform the way people will rejoice, and of course it will be difficult for anyone to unseat you for your second term based on your performance assessment, not looking for one God somewhere or shrine somewhere to come and prevent people from voting under the guise of performing ritual of Oro.
All right, going forward, what would you say that the challenges, or how can the challenges of our electoral processes be dealt with?
Well, number one, look, you get what you want. You get the type of country you want. You get the type of system you want. I've said it. If you don't take interest in the affair of your country, and you wait for a day of election to take interest in that country, you are not going to get it right. From now, Nigeria should become active agents in the affair of their country, focusing on electoral reform. What I'm talking about electoral reform is not the issue of rivers alone, it's not the issue of this and everything. For example, it's high time we now define who is a Nigerian, who is a citizen. And as long as you continue to look at origin, Lagos State, origin, Ondo State, origin, Kano State, residents of a particular area should be called residents. And election should be based on residents, not whether you are from there or if you have lived in a particular place for over 10 years. Then you are a resident of that place. You should be able to vote and be voted for in that environment because you pay your taxes in that environment, you dwell in that environment, you have your friends or even your children in that environment. Even if you have to die or you are vulnerable, as every form of factor of vulnerability in that environment, you equally acquire them. So why should we now begin to segregate? So we should wake up and hold government accountably, transparent in a way that we are going to restructure, that this Nigeria should be restructured to accommodate certain things. And our electoral system should be comprehensively, holistically reformed. And why should we still be talking of using beaver at this time and that's money for beavers? What of even ordinary bank is having except for this Naira crisis, it's having ATM everywhere. You can build a system that looks like ATM where people can go and vote, punch and go. Nobody will come and remove it or steal it there. It's not going to be nobody. Of course, you are not. You just go walk in there at your pleasure and thumbprint and leave the place. And as you are doing is reflecting on the board or whatever system you are using at that particular time. So we should go the whole log of electronic voting, because we can't run away from it now. Because on what account are we going to take this? Violence, that will eliminate violence immediately. That will eliminate the amount we budget for election to go and print papers all the time, to go and buy beavers that will not be used in the next cycle of election, to go and buy the other time. Look, anything these people are doing, they build the economy around it. So the economy is for their own interest. Take it from me. The next election, they will tell you they are not. They have upgraded and they are not going to use beavers again. Billions of naira spent on it wasted. Like just the one that identified us the other time. What do they call that one? We have abandoned that one now. The more billions spent wasted. So it's a vicious cycle. And if we have a reform, if we curb all these things, curb violence, reduce amount we spend on money, we don't need security to go the type of security and the budget for security we have now. We will not need them. So we should look at the cost benefit and do cost benefit analysis and take decision based on cost benefit outcome based on the outcome of our cost benefit analysis. So those are the type of reform that I envisage, that I will speak for, that I will stand for, that I can mobilize for. Not this one that politicians, before you take one, they know what to do next. They know where you are coming from. They can go to a particular place and prevent them from voting. Politicians will, like happen in Kogi the other day, to go and dig hole around the whole community because you wanted to prevent people from going there, accessing the place, including in official, in Okene and some other places. So all these ACOs can be managed, and where they cannot, there will be excessive risk reduction if we actually reform our electoral system in a way that we project our civilization. Not this one that we return. That violence has returned us to the era of, or return us to dark ages, eras of people who live in a place, a secluded place called Ukumene, where Australopithecus live in the ancient world. That is our behavior right now. So it's appalling. We are not part of civilization, and this election has actually proved that substantially. It's only animals that kill themselves because of election, because of what? Children of the politicians don't. Some of them don't even vote for their parents. They don't live out, and they give priority to them. And these people will come out and they will not serve you. The same way people kill themselves for Buhari, 8 years of suffering, drought, no stop. And you are entering another journey through laid with blood, a famished road that could even claim your own life, defending rubbish, rather than standing for truth and justice, rather than elevating your country. You are decimating your country further for just useless cause. It doesn't matter who wins election, even if it's your father. If he does not do well, it's going to affect you, his son, even if you see money. If the society is not good, you can't enjoy any liberty there. That is why you have a country today. A country that has in its constitution freedom of right, freedom of life, right to life, right to this. But you can't enjoy any.
All right, Mr. Gbenro.
Life being wasted, being terminated at random, and nothing gets done in form of protection. So people should rethink and know what democracy is, and know what the proper function of government should be.
All right, Mr. Gbenro, thank you so much for sharing your opinion and your thoughts to us concerning the elections. Thank you for all that you said. This is where we're going to have to draw the curtains, and that was Mr. Gbenro Olajuigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Thank you for your opinion. Also, remember that you can equally like and share on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can also go to our website www.vanguardindia.com to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.